What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we are continuing our Sunday simulation series. And today we're selecting a new team. As you can tell by the hat that I'm wearing, it will be the Philadelphia Phillies. So as we go through, we're now going to head down and select the Phillies, who are ranked 7th overall, 6th in contact, 14th in power, 5th in pitching, 24th in defense, 1st in speed, with a team budget of $258 million. All right. So we're going to leave the rules as they are because this is the way that it's set up for Major League Baseball. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to manually assign all of our tasks here. Now, this is the first series that we're doing on the new MLB 23, the show. So there are some changes to how some of the things operate, mostly around the scouting and draft. So we're going to get into that throughout the course of these streams as we try to turn the Philadelphia Phillies into a World Series winner. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to start in spring training here just to kind of get a sense of the team that we have. We're going to clear out these notifications. And we want to be able to kind of see what we have in-house. So we're going to take a look at the lineup. A very, very strong lineup. Obviously, very good players throughout. The big acquisition for Philadelphia heading into this 2023 season was Trey Turner, as we see him there. Bryce Harper is injured on this stream, at least as it starts, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to have Harper on the roster. So it's going to be a very, very fun time here for us as we try to turn the Phillies into a World Series winner. So while Hart may not be in the actual season, nor Reese Hoskins with his injury, both players will be on this stream as we try to turn the Phillies into a World Series winner. So we're gonna adjust this lineup a little bit. I want to go ahead and do a little bit different with it, and that's what we're going to do. And we're going to switch over to lefty. Well, all right, let's go ahead. We're going to fast forward here through spring training to the regular season. Now, the one thing that we do want to kind of make sure we pay attention to is ultimately I will want to get all of these coaches to be a specific style, a overall attribute with no negatives in terms of their positional state. Philly's got really, really good scouts, so I don't really need to do much of anything with this. Now, we could all right, we're going to leave the scouts that we have for now. And we're going to go ahead and sim to the regular season. All right, so Philadelphia is set to face off against a familiar foe. We're going to go ahead and we're going to plug in our sponsorships here. And as we look at the budget, Philly still has a nice little amount there, which is going to be good. We're going to set a trade block, second, third, center, and closing pitcher. And we're just going to kind of take a look, see who's where. And now let's going to adjust this lineup. All right. So this is how they have it set up. Now, in reality, Bryson Stott is the Phillies' starting second baseman, so that is how we're going to have it as well. And we're gonna switch the order of this a bit. So that's what we do with the right-handed lineup against lefties. We're gonna switch it up a little bit differently as well. All right, so all right, so I think this is the lineup that we're going to go with. All right, let's take a look at the pitching staff. Okay. Now, in reality, Andrew Painter probably would have gotten the start on the Major League Day opening roster for Philadelphia had he not been hurt. But for now, we'll leave him where he is. Okay. Now, as I said, there's a couple of new things to drop the opening day matchup. First, all right. So, as you just saw on that brief notification there, scouting assignments are now open. So, one of the new changes in MLB 23, the show, is that with your different scouts, you have different things that they're capable of doing, different priorities. So, we're going to use these scouts to their best ability. So with our first scout here, he has a 96 overall discovery, so we're going to send him out to look for some things that we're going to be needing in the future. So we're gonna head back and take a look at our block. So we're looking for some help in the infield, center field, and obviously you can never have too much pitching. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to set this scouting assignment. So we're going to have him look for some infield help. We're going to start near home in the East, so we're going to send him out there to discover some prospects. Now, one of the other things with this is that when you start to scout specific prospects, they are they're allowing you to understand which prospects are going to have more of a desire, but you have to spend that time to kind of cultivate that information. So with Philadelphia's first round pick, as you can see in the top corner there, being the 27th overall pick, we want to kind of take a look at some of these players that are going to be in and around that range. And we're going to want to spend the time and invest in these players in discovering them, in realizing how much their interest is, what their demands are, how good they're going to potentially be for us. So we want to be able to take a look at some of those attributes around the players that will be in and around that part of the draft order. So as we can see, this reliever, Hank McNeil, is the one that is said to be in Philadelphia's draft slot at in and around the draft slot, I should say. Now, in playing around with this a little bit, I wanted to kind of take a look at some different things with it, just to kind of get a feel for it. If you watched the Twitch stream from MLB, the show from the San Diego studios team, they invested a lot of time in discussing some of the nuances to this. But we're going to do, for sake of time, because I really could be here all day, is we're going to take a look at this prospect here. Now, his range in terms of overall is from well below to well above average. So that's a wide range that we're going to want to kind of dwindle down. We're also in need of some center field help. So, and this center fielder, Zakarabu, is a little bit behind where we're going to select in our draft slot. So we're going to go ahead with Hank McNeil. We're going to give him some interest. And as you can see at the top of that bar of his, the more that we scout him, the more his interest in signing with our team goes up. Because that's another aspect of the draft system that they've implemented, is that it's not just the ability to pick this player because they fall into your lap, but the signing of these draft picks is now very, very different. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to have our third scout, who's going to head out and attempt to discover some more players as well. So we're going to scout for pitching in the East. So these are going to be our scouting assignments. So we're going to finalize that scouting plan, and now that allows us to continue to move up. Now with that, the scouting plan gets locked in, and we're going to go ahead and turn that off. And so the scouting plan gets locked in for the week, and so we're going to go ahead, we're going to skip through. All right, so next day of our scouting assignment, so another week. So we've discovered a new infield prospect. We have found out that we are starting to really like this player. He ranks higher in our rankings than what he's listed at MLB wise. And our third scout discovered 3 new pitching prospects that are now available to be viewed. So we're going to finalize. We're going to keep this going for this week as well, and we're going to give ourselves the opportunity to kind of get more of an idea of this reliever that we're looking for, that we were scouting and looking at, I should say. All right, so we're now on to scouting assignments once again. Okay, so we've kind of narrowed down this player here, so we're going to move on from looking at him, and we're going to change the prospect that we're looking at. And so what we're going to do is we're going to head back to that MLB range. Now, as you can see, as the weeks go by, things kind of shake out a little bit differently. So we want to take a look at Zakarabu, which was the other player that we were looking at initially. And we want to change the scouting assignment. So now we're going to send him on to the international side looking for pitching, for position player wise. And we're going to send this one to look for pitching internationally. So we're going to continue. We're going to lock that in. We're going to play that out for the week. All right. And so as you can see right now, Philadelphia is doing a very good job early in the season. We're up 2.5 games in the division over the Marlins, 16-6 overall record. So we're going to head back to the scouting situation here. So we're getting a more clear picture, an idea of what this player is like. We've discovered some new prospects here and on the pitching side as well. So we're going to run through with that with one more week of that. So we're going to simulate through the end of the week here. All right, so we're now back to our scouting assignments. Our lead continues to grow. We're up 3 games in the division, which is a good thing for us here. All right, so now we can see that this player isn't quite as good as we were originally hoping for, as he continues to kind of be evaluated by our scouts. So now we're going to go back and we're going to take a look at those players again in and around that late 20s section for MLB's draft. This pitcher right here, Emery Perkins, a starting pitcher, is going to rank around that 28th mark. So we're going to ascend, and we've discovered some more players as well. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to cancel this particular assignment, and we're going to have him scout some second base prospects in the East. So we're going to see how some things kind of play out a little bit differently for us. And we're now going to send him to the West Coast to discover some infield prospects. We're going to set that plan in motion. Now, as you can see in our standings, we're 18-10 after the first month of the season. Well, almost the first month of the season. So now we're through the first month. We're 19-10, and we're doing quite well right now. 3-game lead in the division. It's a very difficult division to win. Now, as we can see, taking a look at some of our players here, so not too bad on the offensive front for the most part. Bryson Stott is and was always going to be kind of our weak area. Good stuff coming off the bench. Nice. Josh Harrison, yeah, I think so. We're gonna give Harrison the nod here and put him in not just the platoon situation. We're gonna give him the nod to get the starting job at second altogether. Now, let's go back and take a look at our pitching side. Yeah, so solid production so far from the pitching side of things. Yeah, I mean, this Phillies team is a very, very strong team. So I'm gonna sim through the end of the week. All right, so now we're gonna get back to our scouting assignments. So as we can see now with this pitcher, he ranks a little higher on our list than he does on MLB's countdown. So we're going to continue to look there. 8 second base prospects have been scouted by our scout, and another infield prospect has been discovered in the West. So we're going to move this, and we're actually going to give a little bit more priority to our scouting of this player, and we're going to leave that as still scouting out the West. So we're going to continue another week of that. The White Sox have acquired AJ Minter from the Atlanta Braves for Andrew Vaughn and a third base prospect, Wes Kath. All right, so back to our scouting assignment. So again, Philadelphia, strong push right now, 25-14, 5-game lead over the rest of the division. All right, so now this pitching prospect has been about 85% of the way scouted. So we want to change it up, kind of continue looking to try to maximize our potential in terms of these players that are going to be in and around the section that we're looking at. So here we have a left fielder we want to kind of take a look at, because he's at that 26 mark. The Phillies again have the 27th pick overall. So teams are going to view these players differently. So we want to be able to really put our best foot forward and look for some pitchers, some position players, guys that are going to be able to help us in the long term. So we're going to edit this now, sending him out to the Central. Now we're going to send some international scouting to second base. All right, we're going to finalize that plan. Sim through the rest of the week, and Bryce Harper sustained an injury. A fractured leg, will be out 1 to 2 months. All right, so now we have to adjust our lineup here. So obviously losing Bryce is a big blow to the organization. We can look internally. First, Jake Cave is having a solid campaign in the minor leagues. Weston, bad. Kingery still struggles. So yeah. Okay, so we're gonna have to take a look. JT is struggling something serious, so we're gonna drop him down in the lineup a bit. And yeah, Yeah, Josh Harrison coming back to the pack in reality a little bit more. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. Let's take a look and see what's out there in free agency first. Not a ton on the outfield side of things. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a look at the trade block, see what we have available out there. So not much in terms of the trade block. So let's investigate, see kind of what teams are struggling. Obviously, the Nationals are in rebuild mode, so we're going to take a look and see. So they have Joey Meneses as a right fielder, which may not be a bad idea if we can swing a deal for Meneses. All right, let's see what other teams are listed as rebuilding. Obviously, the Reds. The Rockies are listed as rebuilding. Chris Bryant is an interesting name to me, but I don't know that I want to take on all of that contract. So Tigers should be rebuilding, and they are. Oh, he's having a good season. All right, Kilbadu, yeah, Austin Meadows, who would have been an easy guy to try to pick up. He's definitely not having a good season. Taylor Ward. I don't know if LA will be willing to part with him, but Taylor Ward would be a good guy to get from the Angels. So, let's try and take a look. So we're gonna go ahead. Let's see what it would take to get Meneses. That was better than I thought. Yeah, but it's one of these where it's like I'd have to give up a lot. Plus it's in division, so now the Mets are over budget. So we technically could get a guy like Brandon Nimmo in a much easier fashion. Maybe not. All right, let's head over to the Angels and see how much they're willing to part ways with. All right, let's see. So okay, so we can swing a deal for Taylor Ward, who's a versatile player, solid offensively. Also get Brandon Drury, who's a better defender, and now depending on, we might be able to get both, let's be honest. As close as this is, it may be just a matter of finding the right third prospect to toss into the mix. Interesting. All right, so let's see. So we're trying to see if we can get Brandon Drury and Taylor Ward without having to give up too much, because we're already giving up a lot, in my opinion. Make this deal happen. We're definitely not giving up Painter. Yeah, now we're getting into the actual help on the major league side of things. So the question becomes, which player do we want more? And I think that while Drury is the better hitter, especially when it comes to like the power department, we're gonna get Taylor Ward. All right. So let's readjust this lineup now. We're gonna plug Ward into it. And let's go ahead and do that. All right, so Taylor Ward now in our lineup. Scouting is done for the week. All right, so now we're back to new scouting assignments. So let's go ahead and set that. So we're going to leave them exactly the way they are for now, except we're going to change this position over to third base internationally. Finalize that. Now, as you can see, we're 4.5 games up on the Mets right now, 27-18 in the division, and we're going through almost the end of May now. So Bryce is still going to be out for 4 to 5 weeks, so we're going to leave him there. Trey Turner, he's going to stay active. All right, so now that little bit of time that we lost Trey Turner set us on a downward spiral, 3-7 over the last 10 games. So now our lead is only a game and a half over the Mets. All right, let's head back in to the scouting side of things. So we're going to leave that for one more week on this left fielder. We're going to change this back to the east, and we're going to go with pitcher for some more discovery. Let's finalize that. All right, so we got to kind of see how things shake out. Let's finish off the end. All right, Tampa has an interesting trade offer for us. Yanni Chirinos is having a pretty solid season thus far. For Brandon Marsh. Now, the problem with giving up Marsh, even though he's having a solid year offensively, is that we really wouldn't have a center fielder to replace him, so that's going to be a negative. All right, so let's move through the end. All right, so now we're back. It's half a game lead right now. 5-5 over the last 10, but we are on a 3-game win streak, so we're headed in the right direction, but that lead is only half a game above the Marlins right now. Okay, so let's head back. So now this player has been 100% fully scouted, so we're going to move on. Let's change up the prospect. Let's see who's in and around that 20 mark, 2027 mark. Right, so this prospect, reliever. Actually, so I want to take a look at this player. Now, he's ranked 16th by MLB's draft, so it doesn't really seem like he's going to be able to fall to the area in which the Phillies are going to be able to select. So it's part of the reason why you kind of want to take a look at some of these other prospects. So like this guy here, so we're going to scout him, see if he's worth this overall potential. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to edit the assignment now to the West Coast. And let's go through the week here. So Philadelphia has now fallen a game and a half behind the Marlins in the division. All right, so yeah, he's ranking 46th overall. Our selection. We're going to now pitchers internationally. Set that up for a week. All right, Phillies doing some more losing. We're now 4 games out of the divisional race behind the Marlins of all teams. Okay, so he continues to get worse in our eyes. Let's change up the prospect once again as we're coming down to kind of the finals sections here. All right, so let's see. It's ranked 23rd overall, so we're going to take a look at him. And we're going to go ahead and change this to the Central now. Change the pitcher to the West Coast. All right, Bryce is no longer injured, so now we have a roster decision to make. So I'm going to send Hall down. And let's adjust our lineup. Yep, Bryce is back in there. Perfect. All right, so let's continue through the end of the week here. Back to our scouting assignments. 3.5 games out. All right. So his overall completely dropped for us. So we're going to continue. Let's change up the prospect. So we want to see who's falling into that late 20s realm for MLB's scouting department, because we want to be able to try to maximize all of our selection opportunities in and around the section of the draft that we're going to be at. So, all right, so this is going to be the final week of scouting. We're now 4.5 games out behind the Marlins. We've been dropping, so we definitely want to take a look at that once we complete the scouting and draft section. So we're going to leave everything the way that it is for another week. And let's take a look. So we have some real struggles with our offense right now. So that's pretty problematic for us. All right, and let's take a look at the pitching side of things. So pitching is okay. We could use some improvement in the bullpen and the back end of the rotation. Now, the problem with our offense right now is that there aren't many spots where we can truly upgrade. You would think that just by the overalls, Brandon Marsh would be one, but he's having a very good season. We could try to upgrade at second base. So let's take a look at the trade block. Let's see who's available out there. Most of it is pitching, and some pitchers that aren't doing so hot. You know, Chirinos would have been a guy to really consider, but not over losing Brandon Marsh as we would have had to have done. So not a ton available on the trade block. But doesn't mean that we can't try and make some moves here. So let's take a look, see if there's any more teams that are in rebuild mode. India. You know, India might be a guy we could probably get. So we're definitely going to take a look at that. Yeah, the Pirates fall into rebuild, but they don't have a second baseman I'm really trying to go after. Now, Ryan McMahon. All right, so we're going to take a look at the Reds and the Rockies. The Giants are in rebuild mode. Interesting. Okay. Now, Javi. Bobby Witt Jr. All right, let me see if we can. The Yankees are over budget. That's the way we're doing. DJ. Yeah. All right, let's take a look and see. See if we can get a guy like Bobby Witt Jr. Feels close. Like it feels like it's something that could be doable. But the thing is that we don't want to get too crazy and giving up a ton of our depth either. Yeah, so it would take getting rid of Bryson Stott. But yeah. So let's see. Because we might be able to swing a deal for Javi. Oh, we can definitely get Javi. Let's see. And it's mostly because we're eating the contract. Do we have anybody that's making any kind of real money that we don't want? King Green. Yeah, it would really just be Kingery. Unless we get rid of one of the arms in the bullpen, but so if we get rid of Kingery, we have a deal for Javi Baez. So, struggling with this idea because of the fact that Javi's making a lot of money. So it would really put us in a position where we're going to be faced with some challenges and some issues going forward. Now, Jonathan India is just such a bad defender. Let's see. Ryan McMahon. Yeah, I don't know that they really want to get rid of McMahon. All right. Let's see if we can't secure Rogers because he's cheaper and younger. All right. I don't really want to give up a ton though. We'd have to give up Sosa, but I don't really want to give up Sosa. All right, so we can get the deal done. It's not having a great season though. Part of the problem. That anybody that I could potentially get now, we can trade and get Xander Bogaerts. Interesting. We could get Bogaerts, but it puts us in the same position as it does with Javi Baez, in that we won't really have the funds to do anything else after. This is tough. Couldn't get Yo on, who's having a worse season. All right, so man, I don't really want to put us in a hole like that. Let's get through the week. Let's go through the draft and see what we have. All right, so we're now heading into this draft situation. So the first 6 picks are the lottery picks. And we're going to go ahead with the timer. Let's continue. All right. So the draft is starting. All right, so the number 1 overall pick by the Pirates, Marshall Mueller, second baseman. Washington has the second pick. Robin Clay, a center fielder. Alright, we're gonna have to speed this up. We will be here all day. Detroit has the third pick, and they select Jorge Reyes, a starting pitcher. So we're going to simulate to our pick. All right, so as we have scouted some of these players, number 2 ranked. Wow. Now, one quick thing, as you can see at the doctor exam, this player opted out, so you don't know what his injury history is. So then you have guys that are injured. So he was not ranked, but he was ranked by our team as number 2. So we're going to go ahead and draft him. And we're going to skip ahead to our next pick. All right. So he was ranked 30th in our selection. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to draft him. And and we're going to simulate the rest of the draft. All right, so now we have to begin really trying to evaluate the fact that we're now 8 games out. So fast forward this. Let's see if we have anyone participating
inside the show. And now your host, Justin Alex.
And let's see who made the All-Star team as a representative from the Phillies. So Aaron Nola. And let's see, anybody else? Oh, that was it, just Nola. And I mean, it makes sense when we look at where we are, 9 games out. Let's take a look. Struggles continue for our team right now. So it's not easy. Not easy at all. All right, so we have to find a way to get Ward into the game. Problem is he doesn't play second base. That's really the only spot where we can legitimately give him an opportunity. It's crazy because he's having such a good season right now. And I just have nowhere. So oh man. Yeah, there's literally nowhere for me to put him. Nola's having a great season. All right, so we need some pitching. So we need some help in the bullpen and in the rotation. So all right, so this is our draft board. So obviously we're going to go ahead and see how things progress here. So we can offer them a contract once they're over 50% interest. So technically we could so that's a 3-day situation. So all right, let's take a look at the trade block. We need some pitching help. So Lance Lynn, Frankie Montas. Let's see if we can somehow swing a deal for Rinos again. So we definitely don't want to give up all right, we need some pitching help, but I wonder if so Turnbull. This might be a guy we can pick up. we'd have to give up our... So, for Turnbull, I want to see if there's a different pitcher I'd be able to get. For the same deal that we're offering. Okay, so we have to try to get us a starting pitcher. Jameson Tyone. And this is not by any stretch of the imagination an easy process. So really the best available option Okay, yeah, so the best available option is going to be Spencer Turnbull. So we're going to make this deal. And send him down. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, offer him a contract. So we have to decide. So he's decided to sign with Philadelphia. Nice. So we got to add in some of these other prospects. We can already offer him a contract because he's already excited to go to Philadelphia. He declined. Alright, so finalize this 3-day plan. So let's see. Let's give him a little boost here. Because we're running out of time on the stream. So he's decided to sign. And let's add in our last prospect who is excited already. And he's decided to sign. Cool. So we have just these two. And let's see where we are. Okay. So we're now over the allotment, but I think I'm going to let it go for another couple days. Yeah, we're going to keep that going. So, man, we are now in such a tough position. 9.5 games out behind the Marlins of all teams. We're 5-5 over our last 10 games. It's really that the offenses really began to struggle in a big way. So all right. I don't really think that there's another move to be able to be made right now. Well, we can try to get a reliever in David Bednar from Pittsburgh. So let's see if we can get that done. All right, so we're pretty much out of time on this stream. So we're at a point right now where, all right, so we're gonna stop here. We are a week away from the trade deadline. We have a lot of ground to make up. We're 9.5 games out right now of the division lead. In terms of the wild card, we're 3 games out of the wild card. So a lot of work to do, a lot of ground to make up, but this is a very strong and resilient team as we saw them be in 2022. So what we're going to do is on our next stream, we're going to pick up from this point as we prepare for the trade deadline and head into the second half of the season and onto the postseason, hopefully. So make sure you keep it locked in by hitting the subscribe button on this YouTube channel if you haven't already, with the bell for post notifications that will allow you to know every time we drop a new broadcast. These Sunday simulation series have been a really fun time for me, and I plan to keep doing them throughout the course of the season. So let me know if there's a team that you want us to see here, take control of, and try to turn into a World Series winner. So keep it locked in. If you want to show support for us, you can head over, find us on all our social media outlets and follow us, subscribe, like on Twitter at banter_baseball, on Instagram and TikTok at Baseball Banter Broadcast. And if you want to show support beyond that, head over to laracuenteledger.com. It is our blog site where we put up new articles daily on the world of Major League Baseball. And beyond that, if you want to show more support, you can do so by heading over to our merchandise shop, baseballbanterbroadcast.com, in which we have a ton of promo codes you can use to save on some banter merch. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you on the next broadcast when we banter about baseball. Peace.